Shalom Aleichem, everyone. We are continuing the Hachseik's learning of the Pele Yoetz. Today is day number 12, and we are going to finish off the chapter today of Zechira, of having the proper awareness of things. Says the Pele Yoetz the following: V'yesh oid Zechira acheres. There's another type of Zechira, another type of awareness that one must have. Shetzricha Ramba, that you have to have a lot of it. V'hi zechiras Talmudai, that is, you must remember what you have learned in the Torah that you have studied. Vein emes ki zoi matas elokimi. The truth is, it's a gift from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, what you remember. V'loi kol adam zeichela. Not everybody is zeichel, not everybody merits to have a good memory of the Torah that they have learned. Aval zu midas kol adam v'chol midei de midas toivos. But this is one of the best midas that a person should have. Whatever you could do, you should do in this endeavor to be able to remember as much Torah as you possibly can that you have learned. Umatzina, we find in the Gemara, it tells us, the Tanoim, the Amarayim, those that are included in Shas, they would review all of their studies every 30 days. So that they should not be embarrassed in the world to come. As it says, Ashrei mi shabolakan v'samuda biyadai. Fortunate is the one who comes here to the world to come, and he has his Talmud, he has his learning, his Torah in his hands. Which means the more that you review, the more that you go back and you see it again and again and again, the more it's going to be in your hands, and you'll be able to present that to HaKadosh Baruch Hu after 120. Ve'anan, but we, what are we going to answer after this? We are so far from remembering our learning and reviewing. It says about them, we are like a finger in a pit of water to forgetfulness, or to remembering, to forgetfulness. What does that mean? That means that just like if you would stick your finger into a pit of water, so when you stick it in there, it makes an impression right away, but afterwards it disappears. You can no longer see the imprints of your finger. You cannot see the ripple effects of what it did. So too, they were saying in the times of the Gemara that our memory, what we remember the Torah, it goes like that. It's like the finger into the water. It just disappears. That's them. So Anu, Manoimar, what can we say? We are very impoverished in these spiritual endeavors of learning and remembering our Torah. Well, the Facha is Chayvim will tell us, at least we have an obligation to recognize our smallness, so to speak, in these areas. At least review the dinim, the halachas, the laws that you need to know that are necessary. Whatever is necessary for Shabbos and for kashrus and for your business and the like, at least review those to know them well. And those that are sitting on the courts of judgment, those who are considered the dayanim, the judges of cases in Klal Yisrael, says the Pele Yoetz, al yoyru v'al yifseku shum din, do not rule and decide any judgment. Not in Isav, which is permitted, what is usher and permitted. Nothing to have to do with money and monetary judgments. Only rule according to what you find in a sefer, in a holy book, that a person was looked into and they examined. Even if the judgment or the halacha is so obvious to you, like the question of whether or not you're allowed to have milk mibe'asa, which is milk with an egg, which we know is an obvious thing. You are allowed to have that. Meaning, we know that it's not milk and meat together, which you cannot have, and milk and an egg you could have together. That's a pashut, that's an obvious judgment, an obvious halacha. Even that, says the Pele Yoetz, if you're so convinced that you know for sure what the halacha is, still a person should look it up before he renders a halachic decision to others. Says the Pele Yoetz further over here, Al yoyir al shum din loima shiro yada ishama. Don't rule in any judgment by saying, I saw, or I know, or I heard before that this is what the halach is. Val yismaich al zechirasa. Do not rely upon your own zechir, your own memory. Even if it's as clear to you, as clear as day. Just like you're not allowed to have a relation with your own sister, that's obvious. So you're telling me that what? I know this halach in that particular shaila you're asking, it's clear as day? Don't even rule on that. Because in this orphan generation, the memory, it confounds us very much. It's very crooked and tricky. And even when you think that you remember what it said in the Shulchan Aruch, what it said in the Mishnah Berurah, what it said in this halachic discourse that you read, even there, perhaps, very likely, your memory is playing tricks on you. We have an obligation. The Sefer Torah should not leave our mouths for halacha lemaisa, for the mitzvahs and the rulings that are lemaisa, that are what we're actually going to do. Which means always have a sefer in your hand, be looking inside to make sure that you're saying the right thing. Talmidei Chacham, they should be trembling and afraid to rule anything ba'peh, which is that they're going to do it ba'peh, which means that they'll do it by heart without looking inside. And what a busha, what an embarrassment will be to them. Says the Pele Yoetz, you know what the problem is? That these people, that might be Talmidei Chachamim, still, nevertheless, their arrogance and their ego is going to get in the way. And they're too embarrassed to ever admit that, you know what, I'm not an expert in this area of halacha. And therefore they will rule quickly based on their memory, even though that they don't even know what they're talking about. This is going to be very destructive. Halavai would be that after looking into Svarim a lot, you'll be able to give the proper halacha, and then you'll give the proper judgment. The Meister with Rav Moshe Feinstein, he was once learning with somebody, and the person quoted a Gemara. And Rav Moshe said, that's not what the Gemara says. And the person said, yes, it is. And the Rav Moshe said, no, the Gemara has a different word. It's one word different like this. And the person said, Rav Moshe, look at my Gemara. And he shows him the Gemara. Rav Moshe looks very surprised and a little bit concerned. He gets up from his seat. He walks across from where he was. He had to go through one building to another to get to his own apartment. And he took out the Gemara, the same exact Gemara that they were learning. He looked inside, oh Hashem. And then he came back to the other Rav. And he said, what happened? He said, most of the psakim that I give, most of the halachic rulings that I give, his Igros Moshe is filled with thousands of tshuvas, thousands of answers to the most complex halachic queries that you could possibly imagine. Rav Moshe said, most of them I write by memory. I go through everything in my hand and I write down. So I'm relying on my memory. You told me a Gemara over here and it said one word that I wasn't familiar with. I'm not sure what you were saying. I went to the Gemara that's in my house. In my house, I saw that Gemara, which is what I learned from primarily, it has one word different. And I said, Baruch Hashem, I remembered. Because if one word I could remember from the Gemara, that means that maybe all of my halachic rulings were wrong. Says the Pele Yoetz, you have to be a very special person like a Rav Moshe Feinstein to be able to do such a thing. In generally saying that a person should look inside the Sefer, inside the Shulchan Aruch, inside the Nosei Kelim, inside the Rishonim, inside the Gemara, and then you'll be able to rule the din emes la'amitai. V'yesh zechira acheres. There's another type of awareness. You have to remember and remind yourself of all the good that your friends have done for you. Hamatu imrav, whether a little or a lot. There should be between your eyes a memory. Call you mechayav all the days of your life. The shalom gemuloi, and you have to repay him. And you owe him good. You cannot be a kafitov for someone who denies the good and doesn't appreciate him and doesn't value him and doesn't try to do good for him afterwards. On the other hand, the awareness of the not nice things that your friend did to you. That your friend has done not nice things, and now you want to repay him in a bad way. Chas v'chalila, do not do that. A person who does that transgresses the prohibition of you're not allowed to bear a grudge. And therefore, whatever you can do to remove this stain of grudge, of bearing the grudge out of your heart, remove it. I'll speak about this in the chapter of Netira, of bearing a grudge. And you see above what I wrote about loving your fellow Jew the way you love yourself. We don't bear grudges, we don't take revenge, nothing like that. Says the Pele Yoetz, this is what it means to be a person who has an awareness in so many different areas of his life. You live, you're present, as we would say. A person is present in the now, right now, what is going on around him. And in that we can be aware of all the amazing things that are happening, and he can express his gratitude to Hashem, to his friends, to his wife, to his children, to his workers, to his employee, to anyone that it is that does taiva, that does something good for him. And in that way, Bez Hashem will never be forgetful. We'll always remember even the sins that we have done, and we'll be doing tshuva and tshuva and tshuva to make sure that just as we remember everything that Hashem wants for us to do, we will be good and remembered well in the eyes of Hashem. All the best.